Hello, everyone. It's a continuation of Oktoberfest here.
Of course it's Oktoberfest. You got to be festive throughout all October.
Well, why not? I'm Joe Lewis with Battle Rankings. I am joined.
That's right.
I'm joined by my lovely and talented producer. Say hi, Ann.
Hi, Ann.
And of course, we in the studio in the third chair is Panzer Ghost. Say hello, Panzer Ghost.
Hello.
Okay, so this is I don't know what kind of show we're going to have here today because our Shmee had the bail, so we were going to cover Emission, but you know what? I took the opportunity and I said, you know what, Joe, we need to.
Joe, he says to himself.
I say to myself. I talk to myself all the time.
It's really funny to listen to.
Yeah, it's when I answer back. This is a problem. What we got here. Oh, you know what? I know what we got here. I forgot to turn the OneDrives off.
If you're not festive in October, you're not doing it right.
No, you're not. Yeah. So there we go. All right.
Are you drinking Mountain Dew? You can't be drinking Mountain Dew.
It's like Irish beer light. Okay, everybody. So what we're gonna do is this. The list all have been turned in except for one. We'll explain for that in a second here. But all the lists are in, and all the lists had to be verified. So 18 people. 6 lists.
You're talking about Masters.
I'm talking about Masters.
Okay, Masters.
Yeah,
Masters
sorry,
list.
Masters.
You really didn't specify what list you're talking about.
Well, I got a Master in the brain right now. So Masters. But all those lists need to be checked and verified. And, well, the thing was, I'm playing, so I shouldn't be the guy checking or verifying. But what we did is we have 2 people who watch the show. That's probably why our viewership's down by half because they're on the show right now. Let me bring them in. We got Patrick and Scott. Hey, gentlemen.
Hi.
They volunteered. Now, by the way, you had no idea when you volunteered how much work was going to be, right?
That's correct.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a lot of work.
Oh, man, I got Patrick, you got a big delay on the mic, but we'll figure it out. So we all the lists were due Monday. I think some people probably turned them in a little bit earlier, and that's good for them. But you pretty much got a bunch of lists on Monday, and then you guys went through and verified them. So.
You might explain why they had to be verified.
Well, yes, I am going to do that. So why did the list need to be? Oh, you know what?
Let's introduce them.
Well, I did introduce Patrick and Scott.
Okay.
But you know what? Before we go too far, let's go over the gaming schedule.
Okay.
And these guys, you could chime in. So we got our gaming schedule. This weekend. Is Vault Gamer Lounge in Delaware. They're doing a Late War 85.
Delaware?
Where?
Delaware.
Oh, no, not that again. Okay, anyway, just the 22nd and 23rd is Cincy Con. Unfortunately, it's butting up. It's not butting up against, but it's going against the Masters, which is also in 2 weeks from now, 23rd, 24th. We'll be talking a little bit more about that. There's also a side tournament that's happening on the 23rd. It's also Mid-War 84, but none of the shenanigans. It's just bring one list of 84 points. Then in November, we got Historicon. There's a Team Yankee on a Thursday, and then the 12th and 13th of Historicon is of November is the first nationals that we've had for a while. So By the way, Battlefront just started advertising. Did you guys see some of the stuff they're putting out now? They're just starting to advertise it. So you can follow their links and everything to get registered and know where to turn the list in. I'm going. Either of you gentlemen going?
To Historicon?
Yeah.
No. I'm going to
Have you-
Millennium Con in Austin.
Okay. Then, I see. Oh, so you're going to Millennium Con and okay, you're going to Austin, which by the way is a Toys for Tots event. So bring your toy and get registered. I will be talking more about that at a later date with all the what's going on, how you can get in it. Nothing's really changed for the last couple of years. So if you guys participated last time, it's kind of pretty much the same. The 27th of November, Game Table Adventures in Newark, Ohio, Late War, 85 points, another Toys for Tots event. And of course, December 4th, there's two things going on. Here in Indianapolis, Able Company's Toys for Tots event. I've been running that for many, many years. It's also, it's 77 Late War, Blue versus Red, Battle of the Bulge. So, Battle of the Bulge. December 4th, also that same weekend, Skoda Fest. By the way, it's not in the dojo. It's actually in a game store now.
Yes. Borderland Comics.
Yeah.
And I'll be there.
Awesome. By the
Yeah.
way, another Toys for Tots event.
Yeah, Borderland Comics is a good store. They got a huge selection of the old V2, V3 blisters if anybody's looking for stuff.
Okay. Do they sell online?
I don't know if they have a website to sell online, but anybody will sell it, mail it to you if you call them or whatever.
Okay.
If you're looking for something, let me know when I'm there, and I'll keep an eye out for you.
The end of January is the Las Vegas Open. They're going to announce. I'm waiting for the announcement on that. That's also nationals, and then March 25th, 26th at Adepticon in Schaumburg, Illinois. That's also going to have. It's also going to be a nationals. So they're working on the points for those two things. So there you go for that. So let's talk about Masters and how you guys are involved. So the thing was, it's mid-war, 84 points. All the books were open. But the thing is, you had to create 6 lists, and each of those lists had to have 4 unique items that were not associated with any other list. When you compare them, if you use the command card, you can use as many command cards as you want, but you're only limited to 1.
You can use as many as you want, but you're limited to 1.
Well, you're limited to 1 difference. So you can have 3. So what the idea is that you couldn't build an 80.4s and change 4 1-point cards.
Oh, I see.
And
you could only change 1 card.
You could change many. You can change many cards, but you only get credit for 1.
Oh, I see.
You got it?
Yeah.
You following?
No,
No?
that's okay. Go ahead.
Okay.
I'm sure everybody else is getting it. I'm just like, I don't understand what the hell's going on. But anyway,
Okay.
as long as the guys here know what they're doing.
Oh, they did, or they do. They did do. Yeah.
I have a question.
Oh, yes.
How did they train and prepare to do this very important job?
Sudokus.
Sudoku.
Sudoku.
That's what he said.
Sudoku.
Yeah. If the formation was different, that's 1 difference. For every different platoon, another point. So that's and each one had to do that. We have some examples. There's some special rules about Now the question is, why 6 lists?
I don't know.
I don't know. Well, I'll tell you. Now, the reason you needed 6 lists is because if you win, the list that you won with is out of the pool. You can't use it anymore. So if you win your first round, that list that you just played, it's toss it out the window. You get your victory points for it. And now the other 5 lists, you have to play with one of those. So theoretically, if you win every round, you play all your lists.
Now, of course, if you lose every round, you can play the same list every time.
You know, if you're losing every round and you're playing the same list,
There's something wrong with you.
yeah, it's probably I think after the second one, change lists. You know, no, this recon list will work. I know it will. You know, so what? Anyway, so 18 times 6 is a lot of lists to start comparing, right? Well, Patrick and Scott here stepped up and said, hey, separately said, hey, I'll help you check those lists. And I'm like, sure, you're volunteering. Have you two ever met before this?
Negative.
No. And how did you find out working together? How'd that work out?
Worked out fine.
Fine.
Thanks to Messenger.
Yeah.
What, you had a good manager?
No, Facebook Messenger.
Oh,
Facebook
yeah.
Messenger, yeah.
Yeah. No, I think it worked out pretty well. So let's hold on. Let me get my stupid mouse here. Let me see what's next. Okay. So everyone sent their list in. There's one list that hasn't been sent in because we had a drop over the weekend. That was John. I have a hard time saying his name. DZ. It's the Polish name.
Zubek?
Zubek. Yes, Zubek. He had a work issue that came up, which then Ian Gull was offered, and he jumped for it. So he stepped
So
up.
you guys got one more coming.
Yeah. Well, yeah, they know he's got one more coming. It's actually due tonight.
Yeah, I already got it, and I looked at it, and it was fine.
What's that?
I got the list already from Ian.
Okay.
It already came in.
And he is doing Soviets?
Yep.
Awesome. So, last night, Patrick was nice enough to give me the breakdown of who's doing what. All right, guys. I'm gonna be perfectly honest to you. So, I put a German list together, a set of German, American. I even tried British, and I did Russian. And I said, you know what? I don't think there's going to be any Russians, so I'm going to do Russians.
Boy, you wrong.
Oh boy, was I? So I'm like, and then I said, you know what? I'm going to do myself a Hero rifle, Hero motor rifle, a T-34 list, a Lee list. I'm going to do all these lists. And I thought, boy, am I unique. And so when I sent my email to these guys with my list, I think I said something, be prepared to be amazed. I did. Anyway, so now that I see the list, you guys like, another Soviet list?
Nothing.
Yeah. And so we have a OneDrive that these guys have been uploading. And then tonight I'm going to be sending the link to the group so that they can have it. But I quickly took a look at all the Soviet lists, and I'm like, almost the same. And I'm like, I am not original. Just not
BA-10s
original.
and Hero rifles.
What's that?
Yeah,
BA-10s and Hero rifles.
the BA-10 command card formation got reused a lot.
in my list.
Well, in everybody's list.
I know.
Yeah.
Hey, you get 10 little things for 7 points. I mean, how can you go wrong? So I know that one. I also I just blew through them, before the show here, and I was noticing themes when people were building their list because I kept seeing the same stuff come up. And the British all have like the the 1725 pounder and anti-tank gun.
Yes.
They pretty much all had that. The
armored car, command
armored car. What else? The Germans. A lot of Ferdinands. I think every list had martyrs. That was like a go-to.
Martyrs.
Yeah.
That was the go-to. Yeah.
And then the one thing that really stuck out to me was Tom Burgess's list. He didn't take a Ferdinand. He took 2 and a lot of lists. And I'm like, 2 Ferdinands is 34 points. Oh, hey, reserves are 34 points. I wonder what his reserves are going to be. Large and in charge Ferdies. So this should be interesting. So, but there's the breakdown. And by the way, I could have gone either way, but I ended up with Soviets. Fretz, I thought he was going to take the Americans, but he ended up Soviets. Jackson's Germans. Copeland British. There's a shock, right? William Brown Germans. Preston Soviets. John Mayer, Keith Gilmore, both taking Germans. James Best British, makes sense. Michael Cron, Italians. There's no shock there, right? Tom Germans. Igor British. I didn't know what Igor was going to bring. Tyson Germans, makes sense. And then Andrew, James Best Jr., Ian, Soviets, and then rounding off is Ed and Nathan Germans. And by the way, Ed was the only one man enough to bring a tiger in a list. So
I'm sad that Ed didn't bring the Finns.
Oh, he didn't do a Finn list.
Yeah.
I don't know how much. He kind of got in late. By the way, their podcast was up yesterday. So the live on air invite is on there. It's around the 2.5 hour mark in their show. So you can listen to it. It was
the raw
great.
emotion in his voice as you tell him.
Yeah.
He
Well,
was like, oh, really?
yeah.
It's like,
Yeah, he cried. I cried.
we all cried.
We all cried. It was touching. It was kind of like I walked in for Make-A-Wish Foundation or something like that. Anyway, it was pretty good. But the breakdown of the nationalities is 3 British, 8 German, 1 Italian, 6 Soviets. Not 1 American list.
Does nobody play mid-war Americans?
I play mid-war Americans. Just no one took mid-war Americans.
I have not seen mid-war Americans, I think, in any tournament.
The downer with them is the what makes an American unit good or a formation is the amount of artillery and smoke capability. But when they're base 5 for skill, the things that you want to do with Americans to make them useful, hit on 3, skill 5. Nope. That is Jonathan.
So they're like expensive Soviets.
Yeah.
with bazookas.
Well, and then you take the factor in bazookas, right? Well, Fear the Bazooka. Yeah, there we go. The bazooka is a 6 to hit in assault. I did it once. And there's the whole thing about they don't do well against Eastern Front list.
Can I hear the cat?
Yeah. Yeah. What's going on with that cat?
He saw me stand up. I think he wants treats.
Oh, gee whiz. Well, it's dark. I want treats. We know who rules this roost. Okay. So, yeah, well, I think that's probably why I know I didn't go with Americans, because I'm like, hey, I could bring bazookas, but they're not going to do anything in assault, because that's where that's where you earn your keep, right? So a bunch of KVs come in. Well, what are you going to do, right? Well, so I'm like, oh, hey, why don't I just take the KVs and then just bring the pain? That's what I was thinking. So I guess that's pretty much, no Americans. The amount of British list I thought was interesting. And then the Germans. I think what's interesting with the Germans is, by the way, I was doing a quick scan. When I tear more into it over the weekend, do some analysis on it, and we'll have more detailed analysis with the list next week. But when I was just going through it, a lot of plain vanilla Panzer IIIs, the 5-pointer,
Yep.
with the it's a 5 front, but 8 gun 4+, and it's like maybe it's good enough, especially when you're dealing with armored car lists, because they'll smoke armored cars like no one's business. So
That's what they're there for.
yeah.
But then you've got the Germans and the Italians separated is kind of a misnomer, because I'd say at least half the German list have Italian formations or some other allied nation in them.
I think when I was doing my German list, that's how I was making them unique. I would put a list together and say, okay, here's plug in the Italians, plug in the Hungarians, plug in the Finns. And that's how I was making them unique. I'm like, okay, here's my core, Ferdy. Well, actually, you can't do Ferdy with the, which, by the way, was a big hublub. Because in Panzer Ghost,
What?
nothing. With Panzer Ghost,
I can hear you.
um,
Are you just trying to torment me?
no,
Okay.
that's more the other way
Does that
around.
torment you?
In Ghost Panzers,
Uh-huh.
Other than the Italians, they're not. There's no access to the other list, but in Iron Cross, they are. You can get the. So I don't know why they set it up that way, or if that's right, but that's the direction we went in until otherwise noted. I do know this. I need to go back and look through all the questions and stuff and do a show on how to build a mid-war list, especially with the Germans, because how people were trying to take command cards from from another a formation book, the do's and don'ts of doing building a formation came out of here. There's a lot of confusion, and we're talking about a bunch of players here that play a lot of games, and there was still some confusion. I don't know. Were you guys picking up on that, or?
Yeah, I had to go rewatch the video with Chris Pratt building lists.
Yeah. What show was that?
I don't know. It's in the archive.
It's in the archives. which, by the way, we do have an extensive archive list, so that you can go through, that you guys could check out and see. So, but it was just interesting. It's just no Americans. And here, and I was like, I worked on this list. I'm like, oh, these are beautiful lists. No one's going to have these kind of lists. And I'm like, I did not an original thought in my head. So like here's an example. My A list, by the way, we asked everyone to list them, A through F, so we can keep them straight. I did notice that some people actually gave titles to their lists that are actually pretty darn funny. Well, I'll share them next week, but I don't know if you guys had some chuckles.
Oh yeah.
Some people have good sense of humor. But in this one, it's a hero rifle list with some Su-76s, some airplanes, and a bunch of Lees, and of course, all 7 points of worth of armored cars. Then on my B list, I did a motor rifle. That's her regular hero rifle. Motor rifle, 76 list, KVs, and armored cars. Go figure. Then my C list is a M3 tank platoon. By the way, did you know there was that many Lees out in the world? Because everyone was taking a Lee list also. Lees, M3 Stewarts, mortars, machine guns, airplane. Oh, hey, look, and it 7 points worth of M8 BA-10s. Then my D list. Hey, look. Oh, this is original. T-34s. Though I took the Red Banner list, I saw a lot of people take the enemy at the gate list, the early T-34s. And there must be a point reduction somewhere.
Yeah, a couple points cheaper.
A couple points. Yeah, but I like that crossing on a 2 because Lord knows I need it. T-34s, Valentine's, T-70s, mortars, go figure. Oh, hey, look, I didn't take the 7-point thing because this is one of the things I need for a difference. I took the Armor Recon and some command cards. The one command card was upgrade the T3 of the T-34s to 57s. Which, by the way, 11 is pretty high. 18 is in this tournament. Then my E list, which is a mixed tank Covey, KVs, T-34s, T-70s, guys with machine guns, guys with mortars. Oh, hey, look, 7 points of BA-10s. And then the last list, by the way, this is my goofy list, which is I picked 7 Churchills. No, I don't think anyone picked 7 Churchills. No. 7 Churchills and some recon support. Oh, and this is where I added my 76 millimeters. It's a little out of place, but that's what I went with. So I had a choice, that or the planes. I went with that. But that's actually, John asked, does anyone have a Panzer III RC company with Bogwarts? No. Did John pick one? Because I went through the list quickly.
Yeah,
Somebody had a Bogart card or something.
Okay. That's the thing that makes things go boom.
Yep.
It's a big RC controlled bomb. And it auto hits and does a lot of damage. And I wonder how Well, when we go through it, I'll see how many he has. But yeah, those are no fun.
Yeah, it's John.
And he says, "Sweet, I'm the only one." I think you are. I think you're the only madman that picked that.
Madman Jonathan.
Yeah.
Joe, you might be the only one with airplanes too.
No.
Really?
There were a couple other Soviets that had.
Were there a couple of Sturmovix? There were no German airplanes, no British airplanes.
Well, now the Germans I can understand. They're expensive. Like 14 points, 17 points. But the Russian, Fretz likes his Sturmovik. He has 4 of his 6 lists. I think 2 or 3 of my lists have the plane. Anyway, by the way, here is.
Thank you.
I am going to make this bigger. Whoop. That is what I'm bringing. Okay. And this needs to be painted. This needs to be painted. This needs to be painted. All these M3s need to be painted. All these BA10s, KVs, and these belong over here. All that needs to be painted. So I have a lot of painting that needs to be done. So, but the thing is, I have it assembled and I have it primed, and right now I did the tracks on most of them. I think I got 1 or 2 things left. Oh, by the way, I did make one mistake on my list. I did not catch it.
You did?
Yeah.
Can you fix it?
No, too late. What I did is, this is the Scout car. I accidentally left the Scout car option with the half tracks for the German half tracks, and now I have to paint some German half tracks.
Oh, okay. So I thought it was a major strategic.
No, it's not a major strategic. Well, it probably is. I'm probably showing up. That's probably a major strategic problem.
Mid-war, they're Dunkelbrow.
Yeah. Oh, Tom says he has over 20 tanks to over the next weekend. Yep. I know there's going to be a lot of people busy painting. The neat thing is I had all this stuff. It's just kicking me in the butt to paint it. What?
You still have to do the FAFSA form.
Oh, yeah.
I'm harassing him. No, Ray's going to college next year. We need to do that.
Yeah, I got to do the
financial aid
stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know why they need to know all that information. They're not going to give us anything anyway. Oh, Herr Lewis, nothing for you. Anyway.
No, they'll probably give him some merit scholarships. That's just my opinion, but
we'll figure it out. Besides, so
you just better not flunk out.
Oh, I kick his butt so hard. He's like, why are they talking to me like to America? But anyway, guys, what was your take on the lists? Your initial reactions to them?
Go ahead, Pat.
Well, I noticed a lot of them would take like one core formation for all 6 lists and then just swap out some of the cheaper stuff in each one. Kind of like yours, Joe, but with like all of them had like an armored car list and then switch out Crazy Cat.
What's your cat's name?
Switch out. This is PETA. And now she's on the phone. That's great. Yeah.
PETA, like the animal rights group thing? Or
no, people eating tasty animals?
No.
PETA,
there's a cat on camera.
There's a cat on camera.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. So you're
Do you
saying
guys know what that music is, by the way?
you know what song that is? You're the cat.
Oh,
Okay.
I'm wondering, and no one's ever said, "Hey, that's the
Well,
the cat."
I mean, you know, it's what, two saxophone solos
Mhm.
and a guitar solo. Anyway, so you back on track here. So you said there's a couple people that built some core, and then just
Yep.
changing things around it.
yep, that's right. And that made it really easy to check them.
Yes, I bet it did. Unlike, say, my list, there's no core. Well, I mean,
Right.
okay. So, by the way, I did not go, well, I'm going to build my list around 7 points of recon. I'll be undefeatable. I'm starting to sound like Skeletor, but anyway. That was
See, Patrick and I checked differently. So I found that lists like yours, Joe, that were completely, totally different, were easier to check because I was sitting in the car on the way to Hard Knocks to play Team Yankee last weekend with my laptop in my lap and my iPad, going back and forth checking lists.
Hopefully, you weren't driving.
No, my wife was driving.
Okay, all right.
And so I would look at like list A and say, all right, it's got these things. Then I'd open up list B and I would remember, okay, this is the same, this is the same. When it was totally different, it was just easy. It's all right, well, there's nothing the same there. Go on to the next list. But then you'd have to remember, okay, list B had this formation and so did list E. So it took me a little longer to do it. Patrick was smart. He just printed them out and put them on the desk. And
yeah.
But I haven't.
I had 3 devices going at once.
Well, what I was doing is I would have list A here, compare it to B, compare it to C, D. I was just doing that way. And then I'd set A off to the side, put F, because that was the one I just did, compare to everything. And I just kept going back and forth like that until I'm like, oh, okay. I think my Tankovi and my mixed Tankovi and the T-34 list was the closest, and I think there was only 4 differences, and I think that's why I think that's why I took there's something on there I had to take, and the Churchill list, because there was so few things, that's why I had to take these guns. They're an artillery option too, so I'm not too bad. But then let's see. Tom here says he built a matrix and filled it out as he went along. Okay.
Yep.
All right.
And some of the
Andrew did
guys
that
did
too.
spreadsheets that really helped.
What was that, Patrick?
And that actually matched the method that I used. I just made a bracket for all of the different lists and made little X's. Andrew kind of did the same thing. Just one master matrix, and then you could really easy compare all 6 at the same time.
Yeah. And then Chris said he built a spreadsheet for each one and compared. Yeah. Actually, at the end, I was grabbing all what you had to build for each one, and then I was putting them all together. And I'm like, oh, hey, I definitely need. The most I ever need was 20 infantry guys and 2 commissars and 2 leaders, for trying to figure out what was the minimum I need to paint. That's how I ended up with what's on the table here. Is there a set of lists that impressed you?
I think it was Igor, maybe. He had like one of basically everything in the book.
Who was that?
So if I think it was Igor's list. I was trying to compare how many different unique units everyone had, and I think he had the most.
Okay.
Let me look for it.
Yeah. 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 Copeland said he was using a spreadsheet also to keep track of everything.
And that's really appreciated. The guys that did the spreadsheet made it a whole lot easier.
Did they send the spreadsheets too?
Yeah.
Oh,
Some of them did.
yeah. Oh, that's nice. I think I just said prepared to be amazed and just threw my list at you. Thinking, wow, look at me.
Yeah, so
I'm so unique.
Igor has 12 different formations, and 31 different units.
That's hilarious for the guy who's traveling the farthest.
Right. Yeah.
Oh, that's funny.
So hopefully he has it all painted already.
He probably does.
Yeah.
Oh, look, the guy that we need to blame. I knew you guys would figure it out. Yeah, you know what? It's kind of like, we could take the song "A Boy Named Sue" and change the lyrics around for this. And so I was like, well, I named you Sue so that you would take care of yourself. Anyway, so that's Dave Griffin.
Thanks for
I know
making
you
me
guys.
tough, Dave.
Yeah, I knew you guys would take care of it.
I have a suggestion. If you do something like this again, with the unique differences, just have 6 lists with 6 different formations. It's like you could only use the same formation once.
Yeah. It could.
I mean, it'd be easy with the Russians and probably with the Germans.
No, actually, it's tough with the Germans because after the 3 different types of infantry, you'd have to go to paratroopers. But the thing about paratroopers is that's all you get is the paratroopers.
Well, and for the Germans, you can make it Axis. So because you can throw the Italians and the Hungarians and Finns in there and make it an Axis force instead of like a pure German force, like most people were doing anyway.
Yeah. Is there? You don't have to name names, but is there any list that you found underwhelming?
I haven't played Mid-War enough to know how good these lists play.
Yeah.
Okay.
There was one that had a lot of light tanks. I don't know. I've never played against that. I don't know how effective that is. But if it's something that got on the Masters, it's probably good enough.
Yeah.
I find BA-10s to be underwhelming.
A BA-10?
Yeah.
Oh.
Don't they cross on a 4 and are hit on a 3 and have just machine guns?
No. They have a gun. They have a AT-7 4+, overworked. I mean,
But they're slow and get stuck on fences.
yes, they do. Yeah. Oh, it's funny to watch it. They're sitting there just teetering on a fence. Yep. Because they can't get over. No. Basically, that is not the purpose of the BA-10s are not my fighting force. They're purely for support. So, yeah. Well, actually, and Fretz is right. A skill 4+, they can blitz as well as shoot. Then Copeland, light vehicles are strong in mid-war lists. They can go against infantry and generally don't have a T, but they can whack most armor, AT-7 or 9. They can.
So the KV shows up.
Yeah. So, yeah, you got an AT-7 gun. A 5 front. Unless they're like me, they can roll a lot of 1s on armor saves. but generally probably not. But of course, if you get on the side of stuff and just plow it on through, yeah, and that's what 17 pounders are for. Yeah. But yeah, I saw that for the British list. They're using 17 pounders for their. Oh, by the way, I also, speaking of which, I also saw that some of the Germans had 188 in their list for 6 points.
Yep.
And I'm like, no, that's not a bad little thing just to throw out there, trying to make some people honest. You know,
Yeah, it could lock down the side of the board.
True. Yeah. You know, so there's that.
Do the Germans have the bazooka skirt rule in mid-war?
Yeah, yes, but there are very few things that can have it. And I think one of them
really
is studs.
expensive.
So
Yeah, because the lack of airplanes with all that light armor rolling around, you know, so the gun busting, tank busting Hurricanes or the Sturmovix, I think would be really effective.
um,
Of course, I'm a pilot, so I like airplanes.
yeah. So you have a bias, a built-in bias there. Anything else that strikes you interesting about the list?
Everyone loves their martyrs.
Well, yeah, I bet that's the first thing they clicked on. And then a bunch of Ferdies.
Yeah, if it doesn't have martyrs, it has a Ferdinand.
Yeah, and then I did see Ed did bring a tiger, and another list he brought 2 Panthers. So
Panthers, crazy.
I know, and by the way, I think they're like 34 points, which is perfect for the reserves. Here come my 2 Panthers. Trouble.
Patrick, did you see any Panzer III longs? I just saw a bunch of Panzer III shorts.
Yeah, no Wallpartner, no longs. They're all just shorts.
No there's a couple of Panzer IVs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's the most cost effective, you know, the short.
Well, hopefully 8 is enough. And with the amount of, you know what, 8 will eradicate a BA-10 like no one's business.
That's right.
Hey, look at them. They're just sitting. They're all bogs sitting on those fences, teetering like this, and you just shoot them off like you're shooting cans off of target practice. You know.
Even I could kill that.
Yeah. I think you know what I'm going to do is I'll later this evening send an email out so everyone can get to the drive. You know, definitely. You know, thank you guys for doing that. It solved that little problem about how the lists are going to check. And you guys did a pretty bang up job. So thanks. And by the way, yeah.
Well, I just want to say Patrick had far more knowledge of the mid-war command cards, so he really got into them. I would say, well, that one's different, but he would point out that no, you can't use this command card with this formation because I don't play mid-war a whole lot.
Yeah.
So
we just
thanks
have
a lot,
mid-war
Patrick.
tournament up here in Mini.
Mm-hmm. I believe there's one person that needs to get back to you. Speaking of command cards, right?
Yeah.
And he's on this broadcast, so check your email.
Everybody.
Yeah, and
We're not looking at you.
Yeah, no, they're not me, but you know, the other thing is, so we got Ian's, so we're pretty good there. So I'll send out the links to everyone. Thanks for uploading all that. It was interesting. Is over time, I was watching the the OneDrive, all of a sudden the folders were getting filled, over time. It was like, oh, hey, look, whoop, whoop, whoop. So there's that. Then, he says, I'm driving home now. Okay. Yeah, okay. Is that what it is? Gammon bombs are not compatible with paratroopers?
With commandos, yeah.
Okay.
Right.
All right. Oh, he says with commandos. Okay. So he's got to figure that out. What is that, a 1 or 2? What's that, 3-point card?
I think so.
I think it's
yeah.
only 2. Yeah.
A 2-point card? Okay.
Yeah.
So he's got to figure out another 2-point card. So there's that. And 2 points. So there's that. What are you thinking, Ann?
What?
I don't know. That's what I'm thinking. He's gonna replace it with more carriers. You need more carriers. So that's good. You know what, gentlemen? I think what we're gonna do is, you stay on. What we're gonna do is we're gonna kind of just move on to a different direction, because I need to get the list out there, to everybody so they can digest it, and then I'll come back on next week and go over the list in more detail and break out some statistics, and then kind of build up Masters. By the way, you guys know it's the 10th anniversary of Masters.
Anniversary.
Yeah. So 10 years of green shirts being passed out. Oh, speaking of which, hold on. I am going to turn this back on. And boom. So look what came in. Yep. A little bit different this year. The spelling's all right. That's good. So I just got to work a piece of wood and get it mounted. So there's that.
So you have all those tanks to paint, and you have to make a wood frame.
In a wood frame. Yeah.
Piece of cake.
And stain it red like the blood of their enemies.
Yes, the blood of my enemies. Actually, the last one was red.
I think so. The last one was red.
There was more of this red where the white is. So I'm thinking probably a black background, black
You think so?
or
Yeah.
something.
Yeah.
Make it pop. I don't know. Figure out. I'll let the artist in me figure it out. No, I got saws and I got tools.
A
And
router and a
router and things, and I'm not afraid to use them. I've used them more than once. Yeah, and by the way, look,
all 10 fingers.
still got them all. And watch next week. I'm like this, but guys, once you work on your what did we learn today, and we're going to throw one more in there. Ann pointed this out, and we are going to go in this week in history. What is this photo here that we see that happened in 1960?
1960. It was interesting. This guy is a 17-year-old kid, a little bit radicalized, a little bit nuts, and he killed a gentleman on basically a political party leader for the socialists in Japan. He killed him with a samurai sword on national television. I mean, he just jumped up on the stage and
ran him through.
And ran him through like a little samurai warrior that he thought he was. And he was a fan of the emperor. This is 1960. This is only 15 years after World War II. And he was 2 years old, if you can imagine, when the bombs were dropped, right? So what changed? What made him go that way? You don't know. But Yeah, he skewered this gentleman on national television.
So I didn't know this happened. So what you end up having is this is a Maoist.
He was a fan of Mao.
Basically a Maoist, and he was trying to bring that to Japan. And
This guy was a fan of the emperor.
yeah, he wasn't. I guess he was not a fan of Maoist. But you said 17 years old.
Only 17, yeah.
If you want to, you can go to YouTube and leading up to this and that event happening. But I'll tell you what, man, he just ran him through. Yeah. Now, so what happened to? Well, the Maoist died. He was.
Oh
killed. He's dead.
He's dead. And the kid was put in solitary confinement in the cell.
Yeah, and what happened to him?
He killed himself because he couldn't commit seppuku. He hung himself, which is the second best thing I guess a samurai could do. And he actually wrote a little epitaph on his wall that he only had one life to give. As if it's kind of almost like the same kind of thing as I regret that I only have one life to give for my country kind of concept. That sort of line. He wrote it on the wall.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's pretty hardcore.
Yeah, he was a little bit unbalanced. Well, actually, it was perfectly balanced when he used the sword, but it was unbalanced mentally. Yeah.
Now, you know what the ramifications of this was?
Well,
there was never a Maoist movement in Japan.
Yeah, that ended it.
Yeah.
The Japanese totally embraced capitalism.
Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah,
capitalism.
the kid was a.
What's that?
Yay, capitalism.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, he went a little.
I actually, I invoked Denning, not Brian Denning, the actor, but the doctor of economics, Deming today.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, continuous improvement. So the idea of Kaizen.
Kaizen, yeah.
Yeah, but it wasn't a Japanese concept. It was actually an American concept, which would be about the same time this happened.
Yes.
So this professor says, hey, you know what? Through continuous improvement, little changes get you continuous improvement. Over time gets a big improvement. And you could do this and improve stuff. And so he went to American companies, and American companies are like, what? We're fat and happy. It's great. It's just after the war. We're making cars, we're making airplanes and everything else. And then, so he said to himself, well, where can I go and get this to work, or try it out? So he actually ended up in Japan. And he, taught them in Japan how to, this theory.
Which became Kaizen.
Which came Kaizen.
Kaizen?
Kaizen? I don't know. By the way, there's a great Simpsons episode of where it's the one where Homer gets his hair back with the minoxidil, and he actually goes up and he's supposed to give a presentation to the company, but his hair falls out, so no one listens to him. But the thing is that he was actually talking about Kaizen and continuous improvement, and it's like, oh wow, that's fantastic. That's funny. I find it funny. Anyway, but one of the interesting thing about it is, I'll give you an example of Kaizen in action. The transistor radio, right? What the little transistor radio, portable transistor radio. What made it possible?
Semiconductor.
Well, but they were using semiconductors, but everyone had big radios. How did you get a little radio like that?
Because the big radios had vacuum tubes.
No, vacuum tubes are old now. They were replacing them with resistors and stuff like that. No, what happened was on the circuit board, they were laying the resistors like this down and then tapping in, tapping in. All they did was they took the resistors and turned them this way. And they had more room. And they just became thicker but smaller. And that's how they made the transistor radio.
Little handheld one.
The handheld one that became very popular with with the youth of America. And it was just little simple things like that. Hey, it's everything's the same. I don't have to change it all. It's just how is it laid out? Meanwhile, in Detroit with the automobile, if you take a look from a 1950s car to a 1968, okay, what changed as far as the technology in the automobile?
Body style.
No, it just looks. All they were changing, hey, no fins.
Horsepower went up.
Huh?
Horsepower went up.
Nah, it's because they started making bigger blocks. But same engine. Same design. Nothing changed.
Yeah.
And so all of a sudden, when the gas crisis hit, yeah, boy, that's funny to say that right now. They had to change to regulations started coming out. All of a sudden, they just start slapping things on the same old engine, and if you guys had cars back then, they sucked because they just slapped all that mission control stuff on it and just wasn't ready for it. Hey, why instead of going off topic, when will the tournament points for 2022 come out? That is a good question. I will beat down on the door of Battlefront. By the way, it's not really. It's a misnomer. It's not the tournament points for everything. It's for their nationals. So when they name their nationals, that's the amount of points for the nationals. It just everyone just seems to latch onto it. So it's 120 points. Everything's 120 points. It does not need to be that way. You can run any point tournament you want. It's just that nationals just gets its own points, and that's why trying to light a fire under Battlefront to get them announced. They won't announce them until they need to for the tournament that's going to be having that. For example, Adepticon is probably going to be mid-war. I'm saying probably. And they'll come out and say it's mid-war X. Well, then that will become the points for mid-war X at Adepticon. Then all of a sudden you're going to see people putting out, I'm running a tournament and it's going to be mid-war X. And that's just.
Well, people could see that as a way to practice for Adepticon.
If you want to throw that together, but you don't need it because what happened about afterwards?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. What's this? You're not doing that swarm of infantry cap, are you? Jackson, who are you talking to? Swarm of infantry crap again. Are you?
Most of the Soviet infantry were heroes, I think.
Yeah. Now I did play one time I did put a list together for some tournament that Will Rankowski ran, and I actually scrounged together as much Soviets as I could, and I was using one of those lists where you had like 22 or 33 infantry stands, the guys who save on fours, and I had 2 sets of those, and I just ran them forward. And they got machine gunned and blown away, and it was at the end of every game, I had maybe 5 or 6 stands left of infantry. I mean, the amount of bodies stacked. Matter of fact, I think every time someone was rolling dice, I was like, the bodies hit the floor. The bodies hit the floor. Yeah, they just got mowed.
I played a besiege list last weekend at Hard Knocks.
Yeah. How'd that go?
Not bad. I need practice how to move all that infantry around efficiently and not be afraid to assault. But there was a whole lot of slap fights, and hardly anybody got killed in my first 2 games.
Hmm. Didn't you find that a little odd?
It was. I played John Purtle the first game, and he was British, air mobile with a whole bunch of Milans and helicopters and Harriers, and we had a 1-1.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, his Harriers came in maybe once and failed to range in.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's sad. I think that's why some people don't like to play planes. But the swarm of infantry is probably towards Copeland. Or, well, I'll tell you what. Let's kind of do. We'll do 2 things here. You ready for Poetry Corner?
Okay.
Okay, and then if you guys can go ahead and get ready with your, we'll do Poetry Corner with Panzer Ghost, and then we're going to do What Did We Learn, and then we'll play it on out. So for those who don't know or new to the show, the Panther Verbal. It's the manual that they use to taught their new tank officers and stuff like that how to use their Panther tanks. The Bevington Tank Museum took the original book that was written in German and translated into English, and this is the translation. So I got part of a Kickstarter, and for it around Christmas time, and I eventually got it in August, and I said, oh, this is pretty cool. But the thing is, what makes this book interesting is the whole thing is written in rhyme, and they translate it into English into rhyme also. And I thought, well, this is pretty cool. And it's got the original pictures. And what they're, and it's written in rhyme. I mean, in fact, I see there's some music written here too. Did you see that?
Yeah, I did.
Okay, yeah, just something to bring there. And
I don't know what the song is for, so I'm going to skip it.
Oh, okay. I thought it was something that you sung at, like, when you got up in the morning to drink coffee or something.
No.
Okay.
No.
So what we've been doing is we have been having our resident ghost, Panzer Ghost.
Do you want 1 page or 2?
You can do 1.
Okay.
Okay. And she's so he's been reading.
Did you misgender me?
Sorry. I need to read the tag closer.
Pronoun trouble.
So what we're going to do is we're going to go and hear some lines from the book and read from a native speaker, Panzer Ghost. So, Poetry Corner, read by Panzer Ghost.
Okay, so now we're talking about trajectory, it looks like, in firing the gun on the tank. Okay, so trajectory is no longer a modern idea. Tank guns shoot far and near. Gunpowder's power today is strong, but it gives off a hell of a pong. Prowls through the barrel of almost endless size, like Caracciola on the grid, racing motorized. The heavy round with its greatest speed, without a doubt it will succeed. For A is not what it was before. It's very light. It's not a chore. And B understands the force of gravity. It zings up in the air with concavity. With arms and legs, gravity draws it out because falling down's time we could do without.
And C, there is air resistance, running over everything with persistence. And D, our rascal tank round like a drill, as if thinner than air, it'll punch through at will. So the round doesn't spin in somersaults, finding it spinning for days, not coming to a halt. To keep its path ideal and direct, straight across like a ruler is correct. Without that old-fashioned high-arched curve, now flies straight to the target without a swerve. One on top of the other like electricity wire, not like the poles split at 100 meters prior. No, it's as thin as a musical notation, a line apart you'll notice in these situations. And then it has this song. I don't know what that means.
Song.
I
All
don't
right.
know what they're trying to tell me. Anyway,
There you go.
anyway,
Top-
why don't you show them the pictures?
I
You already did.
I did already.
Okay.
So yeah, basically they're talking about how the trajectory is flatter with the bigger shell. So that's a lot of words to say. Hey, it's a flatter shot. But there you go. So Anne, did you learn anything new today?
Oh, other than no, I really did. Okay. I mean, I kind of understood some of the things you guys were talking about with the whole thing. I thought that. Well, I know what I learned. I learned that Patrick and Scott worked very hard.
There you go.
They did what they
Patrick,
did.
did you learn anything new today?
I learned something new this week. I learned how to use Microsoft OneDrive, which I'd never heard of before.
Ooh.
Yeah, there you go. Now you can put it on your resume now.
That's right.
Yeah. Scott, how about you? Did you learn anything in this ordeal?
I learned that even masters level players sometimes make mistakes in list building and build illegal or incorrect lists.
Don't.
Yeah, it happens. It happens. How about you guys? Anyone out there want to type in what they learned? By the way, Tom says thanks, Patrick and Scott, for doing all the checking. Okay. Speaking of rhyme, there once was a Panzergrenadier from Nantucket. Anyway, so
What?
Voss?
What?
Voss? Anyway, I think so. With that, gentlemen, thank you. Thank you for coming on. I know our SME had to bail out, and you guys jumped in and pretty much help save this little episode of the show. Next week we'll get back into it. We'll go a little bit more detail, and of course the weekend after the show after Masters will be pretty much have Master players on. By the way, to spread the word, we are planning to broadcast a table, and so there'll be a table so you guys can watch all the hijinks and shenanigans. Hopefully, I don't embarrass myself too much. And we'll go from there. But so, Anne, you want to? Do you guys have any closing words before we leave?
Thanks for having us.
Good luck,
Okay.
everybody.
And thank you guys for doing that.
You want to play us out?
Sure. By the way, you could just tell me when to dim it.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Yeah,
All right.
yeah. Hit that like button.
More Oktoberfest, and we're all singing.
Yeah,
We're
Nothing like it.
missing something though.
yeah. Oh, mine's the. What song is this? Is that just a random beer drinking song? You know?
Just beer drinking stuff, right? They sound like they're totally tipsy in this one. Yeah.
Yeah. So, a bunch of years ago, I think, yeah, like 10 or 11 years ago, Mike Mansfield had had something going on with his leg or his foot, so he was not mobile. And so he went to Adepticon Nationals back then, and him playing, because he wasn't mobile, he got a friend of his to help him move his pieces while he was playing because he couldn't get up. Now, he was playing Hungarians or Germans or something like that, and he had his friend, a female, dress up like a St. Pauli's girl. Okay.
Oh gosh.
And she wore the outfit well. Okay. And Mike was a very popular fellow and he did win best sport. I don't know why. I don't know why, but yeah, she was going around and he was like, "Oh yeah, move that," and she was moving the pieces and everything. It was the craziest thing I ever saw. It was like, it definitely distracts some of his opponents.
Yeah.
But all right, let's go ahead and anyway, everyone, good night, everybody. Patrick and Scott, you can just hold on, and then everyone have a good night.